We are continuing with circular motion. We completed all the basics and now we are into the aspect of vertical circular motion we were discussing earlier. So any questions and doubts from circular motion up to now? Okay, so we'll discuss some questions then. All right. Okay, so let's start with this example based on a particle attached to a thread making a two-dimensional vertical circular path, that kind of problem. So once again, this is a light thread suspended from the point O of length L, and this is a particle of mass m. Now what we want to do here is that given the value of the length is, let us say 20 meters, okay, and the acceleration due to gravity is 10 meters per second square, we want to find out what speed it should be given at the lowest point. Find V naught such that the maximum angular displacement okay, is 53 degrees. It goes to a maximum of 53 degrees, and based on that we have to find the maximum and minimum value of tension in the thread. Maximum and minimum tension during this motion. So through this question, we will just recap the concepts that we learned in the last lecture. Then we'll move on to the concept ahead of that. Okay. So, and for this part now, it is also given to us that the mass of the particle is 2 kilograms. For the tension, we'll require the mass also. So just try to make the diagram and understand what all equations you require for this. Okay, just to give you a hint, obviously you will make the free body diagram, and comparing the free body diagram with the initial point with the maximum angular displacement point will give you one set of equations, and the other thing is you will compare the initial point with the maximum displacement point by work energy theorem also. So there will be conservation of mechanical energy because tension is a centripetal force here, so it does not do work. So that is where the work energy application comes in. That in a vertical circular motion, the tension force that is acting on such a particle does not end up doing any work because it always acts perpendicular to the instantaneous velocity. So the power developed by such a force is zero, or the total work done by it becomes zero. So ultimately, the sum of gravitational potential energy and kinetic energy that remains constant while the motion is occurring. So that is a very important part of the application in this question. Okay, Deep, let's work out the value. No, maybe you made some mistake with the units, beta. You have to check. The speed will not be that high. Its order of magnitude will not be, 100 meters per second or above. Be less than that. In fact, I can tell you for a fact that the speed will be less than 20 meters per second, because 20 meters per second will guarantee a 90-degree angular displacement. If I wanted this situation here, that from this vertical position of V naught, suppose I want to give it enough speed so that it reaches the 90-degree position. So by the time it comes here, it should come to rest. Then this length being L, for this situation, V naught should be equal to root 2 GL, because half m V naught square minus mgl should be 0. So this would have given me 20 meters per second. So obviously in this case, whatever I'm getting, the V naught will definitely be less than root 2 GL. So it will be less than 20 meters per second. Okay, that's correct now. Good. That's correct. Good. Okay, so anyhow, so as I was saying, what we will solve for in this case is the situation where it goes up to 53-degree angular displacement position. And when it reaches the 53-degree angular displacement position, the particle should come to rest. It is not going beyond that. So यहाँ पे speed should become 0. So let's say this is the point B and the starting point was A. So this angular displacement is 53 degrees. So A to B, again, change in kinetic energy plus change in gravitational potential energy should be 0. Okay. So minus half mv naught square is a change in kinetic energy plus mgh should be 0. Where once again h will come from this calculation. We just need to drop a perpendicular here and find out this vertical height. Okay. For which we'll understand that this is L, this angle is theta. So this is how much it is, L cos theta. Okay. So H is equal to L into 1 minus cos theta. So this will become a very standard calculation as we work out more and more problems related to this. So cos 53, as you know, is 3 by 5. Okay. So this is 2L by 5. H is equal to 2L by 5. So now solving this, we'll get V naught as root 2 GH, which we'll substitute as 2L by 5. So now we can substitute the numerical values and we get square root of 4 into L, which is 20 meters, divided by 5 into G, which is 10 meters per second square. Oh, sorry, 10 is in the numerator, by mistake. Yeah, so it is square root of 4 by 5 into GL, so that is 10 into 20. So this is what I'm getting. I'm getting square root of yeah. Somebody has a doubt? From here. Okay, anyway. So this is becoming how much? This is becoming 10 into root of 16. 1.6. That's actually 4 root 10. Yeah. So that's approximately, we can say it is 12.6, something like that. So as you can see, it's quite a bit less than 20 meters per second. Yes. Okay, Deep, very good. So this is the first part. Now, secondly, you can see that for the maximum tension We will look at the free body diagram at which point? At the point A, when the particle started off, because that is when the centripetal acceleration is maximum, and that is when the tension is acting diametrically opposite mg. Okay, and the particle was going off with the speed v naught in the circular path. Okay. So we have T naught minus mg, that's our centripetal force, that is mv naught square by L. So this is the maximum tension. So now if we just substitute, so the mass was 2 kgs into g is 10 plus v naught was 20. Oh, sorry, v naught was root 160. So v naught square, when we are doing it, just write it as 160 divided by L, which is 20. As we are just putting v naught as root 160, which we got here. Okay. So 18 into 2, 36 newtons, correct, is the value of the maximum tension, is the maximum value. Okay. Whereas, as we discussed last time, the minimum tension will occur at the point where the particle comes to rest momentarily, that is the point B which I have labeled. So वहाँ पे tension कितना हो जाएगा? It will become just equal to mg's component, mg's radial component. So for minimum tension, we have to look at the free body diagram at the point B. Okay. So just note this down and try to work out the free body diagram at the point B itself and tell me how much that minimum tension is. So let's see. It will come as some component of mg. So just work it out. You know that angle is 53 degrees, as you can see. Very good, Naman. That's correct. Yes, Bhavesh, that's correct. In all these situations, we assume that there is no air resistance or air friction, or more properly, what we say viscous force. We assume none of that is there. So there is no non-conservative force. That's why mechanical energy is conserved. Also, we assume that where the string is tied to the support at the point O, there is no friction between the string and the support. There's some kind of an axle or a hinge at which the string is rotating. So there also we are assuming that there is no friction involved. So there are no non-conservative forces in our system. Okay. So obviously in reality, that doesn't happen. So with our assumption, what we will predict happens over here is ki, suppose I've given this the speed of root 160 or whatever, it'll go to 53 degrees on this side, come to rest over there. Then from there it will retrace its path, just like a mirror image situation. It will cross this point with the same kinetic energy as it had before, because there's no loss of energy happening. So that will take it to 53 degrees on the other side. And it will keep oscillating between plus 53 and minus 53 forever, because we are assuming that there are no non-conservative forces. But in reality, you know that with each oscillation, the angular amplitude will start reducing and eventually it will come to rest over here. Okay. But again, for example, if we do this experiment inside a vacuumized chamber and we use some materials which have hardly any friction at the axle point, then we might not be able to achieve, perpetual motion, but we will be able to achieve a situation where there are very, very large number of oscillations. It's possible to do this in the physics lab such that we can achieve motion for 2 or 3 days at a time without before it comes to rest. So it's almost a nearly ideal kind of situation. So there is experimental proof also that backs up this theoretical understanding of this kind of system. So anyway, so now coming to the tension at the point B, you can see at the point B, the particle is experiencing weight mg downwards and the minimum value of tension in this direction, and it's come to rest. So this angle is our theta equal to 53 degrees and its speed is 0. So there's no centripetal acceleration. Yeah, so at this point B, you can see that this becomes mg cos theta. Okay, so this is happening because the centripetal acceleration is 0, and that's the case because the speed is 0. Whereas mg sine theta is providing the tangential acceleration. There's a tangential acceleration because of which the particle does not hold on to that position. It eventually comes back. No, it only comes to rest for a moment and then it sort of it oscillates back, or it takes the same path, the circular path back towards this point E. So there's a tangential acceleration, which is the tangential force mg sine theta divided by m. Okay. But anyway, we are interested in this. So this is the minimum value of tension, which will become cos 53. So that's 3 by 5 times the weight. So in this case, that's becoming 3 by 5 times 2 kgs, I think, right? Yeah, multiplied by 10. So that's 12 newtons, right? So during the entire motion, the tension continuously decreases from the maximum value of 36 to the minimum value of exactly one third of that, that is 12 newtons, as your particle is going from A to B. Then again at B, it stops momentarily and comes back from B to A, in a mirror image of the motion. And again, as it's coming back from B to A, the tension is increasing, the speed is increasing. Then it crosses the point A and goes to 53 degrees on the opposite side. So this, we'll have to assume that this motion perpetually happens between the two extreme positions. So hope this example is clear to all of you. If you just review this properly and let me know if there's any doubt. Right, so people, I'm assuming this question is fully clear. Okay. So next we move on to the even more interesting part of vertical circular motion. Okay. So now let's see what happens when we give a speed at the bottom of greater than root 2 GL. Last time we had seen that for root 2 GL, the angular displacement is 90 degrees. Now if we give greater than this, then that means the particle moves beyond the angular displacement equal to 90-degree position. Okay. Now once it moves beyond that position, as I was telling you, the whole situation becomes a bit more interesting. because the way the two forces tension and mg sine theta, or rather tension and mg itself are related to each other, are a bit different. So we will do a proper comparison at various different points to understand this. All right, so let's say that at the lowest point, the motion started with an impulse given to the particle. So as a result of that impulse, it had a speed v naught, which I have written above is greater than root 2 gl. Okay. So now if I compare it at two different situations, one I compare it at some position where the angular displacement is less than 90, and then next I also compare it with a position later where the angular displacement is greater than 90. So this was the starting position A, and after some time it has reached angular displacement theta, and it's reached this position B, and after some further time it has reached some angular displacement, let's say theta prime. Okay, so it's like this. Now if you see at these two different positions, okay, the forces that are acting are very interesting. Mg is acting vertically down and tension is acting such that radial component of tension is opposite here. At the point B, tension is like this, Mg is like this. No, this is not the next question, but I am explaining the next part of vertical circular motion. Okay. We'll come to solving of this part later. Now we are discussing that case where the speed is greater than root 2 gm. Till now we have discussed the cases where the speed was less than equal to root 2 gm. So once you've given a speed of more than root 2 gl at the lowest position, this is what is happening. It's going beyond the 90-degree position. So let's say at this point of time, the speed was some v1, okay, or v. But now at the point C, the speed is becoming some v prime. So obviously you can see that v prime will be even less than v, and v is less than v naught, because from A to B to C, okay, the gravitational potential energy or height is increasing. So gravitational potential energy is increasing. So obviously kinetic energy will be decreasing. Okay, so that's one thing we understand. The speed is becoming lower and lower as you go on. Okay, but also what I was talking about earlier, the difference between how tension acts with respect to weight. Now at this point C, you can see tension and mg, they're acting in such a way that their radial components are both centripetal. Okay, so at the point C, you can see that if I denote this angle as some, now this is a different angle compared to theta, so I'll denote it as some other angle beta, let's say. Okay, so that's the same as this angle beta. Okay, so at the point B, you can see we have the equations that tension at B, which I'll just write as T instead of TB. Yeah, so the tension at this point is such that it is acting opposite to the radial component of mg. This component is theta. So at the point B, what is my centripetal force? The net force pointing towards the center. It is T minus mg cos theta. And that is equal to mv square by L. So the tension is equal to mg cos theta plus mv square by L. But now if we compare this equation with the point C, which is beyond the 90-degree position, okay, so theta is less than 90 degree at this point. But now if we compare at C, where the angular displacement theta prime, as you can see in the diagram, has gone more than 90 degrees. So at that point, what is happening? The tension T prime is acting such that it's acting along with mg's radial component towards the center. So it is tension plus mg cos beta, and that is equal to mv prime square by n. So now something interesting is happening. The tension is equal to mv square by r at that point minus the component of weight, which is radially inwards. So comparison of these two equations will show us the interesting aspect of this which I was telling you about. And in this diagram, you can see that beta is nothing but 180 minus theta prime, because the angular displacement here is theta prime. So beta is just the complement of that. Okay. So now you can see that if you compare equation 1 and 2, the tension at the point C has become even further less than the tension at the point B. And in fact, it can even happen such that the tension becomes zero, because it's the difference of two things. So if the tension at some such point like C becomes zero, what will happen? The string will not be tight anymore. No, it's like the thread will become loose. So it's a common observation that if you don't give it enough speed at the bottom, it might cross the 90-degree position, but from there the string becomes slack. No, it loses its tension and the particle falls like this. Instead of continuing in a circular path, the particle falls. So that is an additional possibility that happens. So you can see over here that it is possible, if your speed at that point is slow enough, it is possible for the thread to slacken or become slack or lose its tension. And if that happens, the particle falls. It's not going to be in vertical circular motion anymore. That is, tension might become zero at C. It is possible for that to happen. Now, what is the condition for that to happen? We'll discuss. एक्चुअली भावेश क्या हो रहा है ना, टेंजेंशियल एक्सीलरेशन जो है वो हेल्प नहीं कर रहा है, वो इनफैक्ट दैट इज गोइंग अगेंस्ट अस ना, बिकॉज टेंजेंशियली द पार्टिकल इज डिसेलरेटिंग. So what we want now, that the centripetal acceleration v prime square by L, that should be very large. So for that v prime should be large so that the tension does not become zero. And for v prime to be large, ultimately what has to be large? V naught has to be large at the lowest position. जितना मैं ज्यादा काइनेटिक एनर्जी दूंगा at the point A, उतना ज्यादा there is the possibility that at the point C there is enough speed which is generating enough centripetal force so that the tension is not becoming zero. You understanding the point, Venkata? Okay, so there is some critical value of V prime at which the tension is becoming zero. So if I want the tension not to become zero, if I want the string to continue in the vertical circular path, I don't want V prime to be lower than that critical value. I want it to be greater than that. So accordingly, I have to give a certain minimum velocity V naught at A. Otherwise, my V prime will be less than the critical value and the string would have slackened. That is the idea over here. Okay. So just make a quick note and analysis of these two equations carefully. Make sure you understand the components and everything. Here I have not talked about tangential acceleration. I have only talked about the radial direction. Okay, so this is only about the radial component. I have not talked about the tangential component. We'll come to that also, but because right now we are more interested in the tension. And before you write it down, also one more thing you can see that at a point like B, where theta is less than 90 degree, tension cannot be zero. Tension will always be greater than equal to zero because it is mg cos theta plus something. No? Now this mg cos theta term is not becoming zero, no? Because theta is acute. So tension, so the string cannot slacken. Okay, so the thread cannot slacken. If it slackens, that has to happen after it crosses 90 degrees. Right, that's okay, Bhavesh. So you understood the meaning, that's good. Okay. Sorry. Yes, radial component only. Beta. That's correct, Aditya. What I mean is both equation 1 and 2, na, we are looking at the radial component of force. So both of these equations, we are looking at the radial component. Okay. Okay. So now that we have understood this thing, let's see. So couple of things to understand that as angular displacement is increasing, so it's first going from 0 at A to some theta at B to theta prime at C or बढ़ता जा रहा है. What is happening? The speed is decreasing. Speed decrease कर रहा है. ठीक है. So accordingly, what is happening from equation 2, you can see from equation 2 that the tension is also decreasing. ठीक है. So that means now if we assume that the tension does not become zero, okay, assuming the string does not slacken. If it does not slacken, that is the particle completes the circular path. अगर ऐसा होता है, then tension will be minimum at which point? At the highest point. It will be minimum at theta equal to 180 degrees. That is the highest point. So to understand the critical condition that the particle completes vertical circular motion and the thread does not slacken. So to understand the critical condition, we have to take care of this fact that the particle reaches the highest point with some tension. The tension should not become zero before reaching the highest point. So that will become a critical condition. So from this we'll understand that therefore to complete the circular motion in the vertical plane, of course, okay, tension should not become zero anywhere before theta equal to 180, okay, or anywhere between 90 degrees and 180. ये दो positions के बीच में the string should not slacken. So that is how we find the critical condition. So this is the critical condition. How will I find the condition key? It completes the vertical circular motion. This is the critical factor that the tension should not become zero before it reaches the highest point. So now we know which point to focus on, the highest point, and with respect to that, the lowest point. So from that, we will build the condition on the value of the speed at the lowest point V naught for it to complete vertical circular motion. Okay, so critical point for us is the highest point. Okay, so now let's see. Assuming that our particle is completing the vertical circular motion, if I assume that, then this is pretty easy to figure out. So that what is happening is that if our particle started from the lowest point with a certain velocity v naught, right, and by the time it reached the highest point, its velocity is reduced to some v, and accordingly its tension is also reduced. So यहाँ पे its speed has become v. So now we are doing the analysis between the lowest point and the highest point. Now at the point B, you can see the free body diagram of the particle will be like this. Assuming that tension has not become zero, there is some tension and there is mg, and this is the center of the circular path. So at the point B, T plus mg is equal to mv square by L, or T is equal to mv square by L minus mg. So if I want T to be greater than 0, then mv square by L minus mg should be greater than 0. So that tells me that v square by L should be greater than g, or v should be greater than root gm. Okay. So in the limiting condition, that is the condition that is just about enough to satisfy this, t can be just about 0 at b also. So v can just about be equal to root gm also. In general, the condition is t should be greater than equal to 0. So v should be greater than equal to root gm. Okay, so this is the limiting condition, that this should be the case for uh, completion of vertical circular motion. This is the critical value. Okay. Now, if we apply work energy or conservation of energy from A to B, we apply that. You can see that we get the critical condition on V naught. Now you can see this total height is 2L from A to B. So half mv square minus v naught square plus mgh is equal to 0. So you get v square is equal to v naught square minus 2gh. Put the value of h is this. So you get v square is, or actually it should be the other way around. We are calculating for v naught. You want to do the calculation for V naught. So V naught square is equal to V square plus 2GH. So V naught square is equal to V square plus 4GL. This is the condition. Okay. Now when we combine these two, for the tension to be non-zero at the highest point, V should be greater than equal to root GL. Okay, so critical condition यहाँ से आ रहा है. Okay. So V should be greater than just about equal to will also do root GL. So therefore V naught should be greater than equal to root of GL plus 4GL, or V naught should be greater than equal to root 5GL. This becomes our critical condition. So this is what we wanted to do. We wanted to find the condition for completing the vertical circular motion. So this is the condition, that the speed at the lowest point should be greater than equal to root 5 g. This is the critical condition for completing the vertical circular motion. Okay. So hope this is clear. Please ask me if there's any doubt with any of the steps. Okay. Make sure you write down the free body diagram equation also very carefully. Understand this, how we got this. Okay. This greater than is just converted to greater than equal to, taking into account the limiting condition that tension is just about equal to 0. And then application of work energy or conservation of energy from A to B to find the relationship between V naught and V. So first we are finding the critical value of V, so that there is some tension, or the tension might be just about equal to 0 at the point B. So if it's just 0 at B, that means it's still non-zero before B. That's the whole idea. We don't want the tension to be 0 before B. No? So that means at B, just about 0 is also okay, but it should not be less than B, because that would not make sense. That means before B, the tension has become 0. Okay, so once we are through with this derivation, now we can sort of understand this as different categories of or different cases of this vertical circular motion kind of path. So first case, if we give an initial velocity of less than root 2 gl, then what will happen is that the particle will behave like a pendulum. It will come to some maximum theta here and stop. I mean momentarily stop, of course not stop forever. It will come to some position here where V will become 0. So this maximum theta will be less than 90 degrees. Okay. And at that point, there will be some tension, let's say T prime, which will be non-zero. Okay. The next case, if we give an initial velocity which is exactly root 2 gl equal to root 2 gl, then in this case, it's a little bit more interesting what will happen, because the particle will reach the 90-degree position. But when it reaches the 90-degree position, at that point, it will be at momentary rest. V will be equal to 0 at maximum angular displacement of 90 degrees. And again, momentarily at that point, tension will be 0 because there's no centripetal thing. Means tension will be 0, tangential acceleration will be g downwards. Okay. Here the tangential acceleration will be g sine theta in this direction. Okay. Then the next case is if we give an initial speed which is greater than root 2 gl but less than root 5 gl. Now this is also a very interesting case. Okay. So this is greater than root 2 gl, but it's less than that critical velocity which we derived in the last case, which is root 5 gl. L, by the way, is the length of the thread in all these cases. So in this case, what happens? The particle, it starts from here and it reaches some kind of a position beyond 90 degrees. But at that position, the string slackens. So when it reaches some angular displacement of more than 90 degrees, greater than 90 degrees, the tension in the thread becomes 0. Because at that point it has some speed v, and mg cos beta has become equal to where this angle is beta. So this has become equal to mv square by L. So the tension in the thread has become 0. Okay. So then the thread slackens, or you can say becomes slack. So after the thread becomes slack, the particle will go into a projectile path and fall like this. Okay. It will not fall directly because it's not at rest. So from there, the particle continues as a projectile and falls off. Okay. Does not continue in circular path, goes out of circular path. Okay. And then the final case, that if I give a speed of more than root 5 GL greater than equal to, then it simply completes the vertical circular motion. Okay, so just make a note of these three cases first. So it's very critical that you remember these values and remember the important features or the important properties of each of these. Okay. For example, in this case, the tension is greater than equal to zero at all, sorry, greater than zero at all points. Here, the tension is greater than zero at all times. Okay. Here, the tension is equal to zero momentarily at theta equal to 90 degrees. Okay. And the tension is greater than zero at all other points. Okay. And here, too, this is what happens. The particle goes out of the circular path only because the spin slackens. So these are three different cases. And the fourth one is the final one, which we'll discuss, is the one where it completes vertical circular motions. We'll discuss about that also. So if you're familiar with these values and the cases according to the values, then you will find it very easy to do these type of questions by simple analysis and comparison. Yes, exactly, Bhavesh. Very good question. And that is true. It will complete. It will perpetually keep going in vertical circular motion. It will never slow down. Every time it goes through the lowest point, it will go at that V naught. Every time it reaches the highest point, it will have that speed V, whatever it is at the highest point. And on and on and on, that will continue forever. Okay, at least theoretically, that's what should happen. Okay, okay, finish that. Okay, so let's just note down the fourth and final part before we look at numerical applications of this. So the fourth case is when V naught is greater than or equal to root 5 GL. So it completes vertical circular motion. Okay. So the important thing about that is that during that vertical circular motion, the minimum and maximum tensions will be at this point and this point respectively. So here if the speed is V naught, then this tension T naught equal to mg plus mv naught square by L. This is the maximum tension. In fact, this is the case in all the different situations. Here also, at this point if the tension is T naught, at this point if the tension is T naught, is always the maximum tension. In all three of these, this is a maximum tension. But more critical was the minimum tension. So here this T prime is the minimum tension. Here this T prime equal to 0 is the minimum tension. The minimum tension is going all the way to 0. Here also the tension is going all the way to 0 in the third case. Okay. And the fourth case, if we have given a V naught greater than root 5 GL, then it is definitely going to reach the highest point. And when it reaches the highest point, it will have a speed. This will be the minimum speed during the entire motion. So that V will be equal to root of V naught square minus 4G. Okay. So now, if this tension is T prime will be equal to mg, or rather mv square by L minus mg. So that is why for tension to be greater than equal to 0, V should be greater than equal to root GL. So accordingly, V naught should be greater than equal to root 5G. So this is the fourth case. This is the case where vertical circular motion is getting completed. Okay, so now let's look at an example problem to understand how we can numerically put all this together. So we have a particle of mass m hanging from a thread suspended from the point O such that it can go into vertical circular motion. At the lowest point, it's given the speed v naught. So given the length of the thread is 10 meters and g is 10 meters per second square, and the mass of the particle is 50 grams. You have to find the maximum angular displacement, okay, and maximum and minimum tension in the thread if V naught is equal to okay. So this through this question we will cover all the various different cases. Okay. So just compare the values with the four cases that we made above, and through that you should be able to understand what is happening in each case. To do this question, the first thing we can do is we can first calculate all the critical values. Critical values क्या होते हैं? Root 2 GL एक होता है, so that we understand whether it's a pendulum or not, and root 5 GL होता है to understand whether the string will slacken or it will complete vertical circular motion. So यहाँ पे root 2 GL का value कितना होगा? It will be 2 into 10 into 10, so 10 root 2, और root 5 GL का value कितना हो जाएगा? 10 root 5 हो जाएगा. Okay, so this is 14.1. So you can see that this value is root 2 GL, and this will become root 5, which is 2 point something, 2.24 or something close to that, right? So approximately you can say this is 22.4 or 22 point, up to one place decimal if you take, it's like this one. Okay, so we can see that this value is exactly root 2 GL. This value is that in between thing. It is greater than root 2 GL but less than root 5 GL. So this is the case where the string slackens between 90 and 180 somewhere. Now where it will slacken we'll find out. This is where theta max will be 90 degrees and tension will be 0 at 90 degrees. This is where V naught is less than root 2 GL. So theta max will be less than 90 degrees and tension will be non-zero at theta equal to theta max. And this one you can see is greater than root 5 GL. So it completes circular motion all the way. Okay, and minimum tension will be at highest point. But that minimum tension will be greater than 0. So at least I know what to expect in each case. Okay, now for calculating the values, I'll have to again make use of free body diagram and the work energy relation, conservation of energy. These two things have to be applied for each of the cases. Okay. So just start working on each of them. The first part is solved. You can see that apart from calculating the maximum tension, you can see in the first part you solve the numerical values of minimum tension being 0 and maximum angular displacement being 90 degrees. Okay, so anybody else got the values? Okay, so let's work out each case now. So part A, the speed here is root 2 GL exactly, which is 14.1. So the tension here is mg plus mv naught square by L. So that when you work out, you'll see it become 3 times the weight. So that is 3 into 0.5 into 10. So 15 newtons. Or sorry, 0.05 into 10, my mistake. The mass is 50 grams. Yeah, that's correct. So Deep, your answer is correct for maximum tension. One 1.5 newtons. This is the maximum tension. Then when it reaches the 90-degree position here, okay, speed will become zero and tension will become zero. So this is the minimum tension. Okay. So this part was easy. Now let's come to the second part. We are giving a speed of 20 meters per second. So this is a slightly tricky one because the speed is greater than root 5 GL, but sorry, greater than root 2 GL, but less than root 5 GL. So at some position over here, the string will become slack. Okay. Less than root 5, but greater than because L was 10 meters. Okay. So now let's say it goes to some position like this, where this angle is beta. So this angle is beta, and it has some speed v over here. So at this point, what is happening? Tension is becoming zero. So that means mg cos beta is equal to mv square by L. That is the first thing. Okay. And also, if I compare my 2 points A and B work energy wise, so यहाँ से यहाँ जो height gain हो रहा है, that height gain is how much? It is L plus this value here. Now in this triangle, you can see that this value is L. So this is L cos beta. Okay. So you can see that A to B, my H is equal to L plus L cos beta. Okay. And A to B, so this gives me my second equation, that V square is equal to V naught square minus 2gh, or V square is equal to V naught square minus 2gl into 1 plus cos beta. So this is my second equation. Now by solving equation 1 and 2 only, we will get the value of this cos beta. And from that we will know the angular displacement. The theta max is 180 degrees minus beta. And we can see that tension equal to 0 at B. This is the minimum tension. Okay, so this we still have to find out, but this is the minimum tension. And at this point, this will be the maximum tension. Okay. So based on my equations, now just solve equation 1 and 2 and try to find out how much you are getting for the maximum angular displacement. Okay, so let me verify that value. So from equation 1, you can see your V square is GL cos beta, and from equation 2, your V square is V naught square minus 2GL into 1 plus cos beta. This is from equation 2, from equation 1. So eliminate this. So we'll get GL cos beta into 1 plus 3 is equal to V naught square minus 2GL. Now let's put the values. So 10 into 10 GL into, sorry, 1 plus 2, not 1 plus 3. Okay, so cos beta into 3 is becoming V naught square, which was how much now? 20 square, right? Minus 2GL. So 300 cos beta is coming out to be 400 minus 200. So cos beta is equal to 2 by 3, or we can say beta is cos inverse of 0.67. Yes, so that is approximately, let me just calculate and tell you. It's about 48.2 degrees. Okay. So from that we'll get our theta max as about 132 degrees approximately. Okay, so these are the answers for this part of the question. Very good, Deep, that's correct. Okay. And another thing we can notice that at B, when tension becomes zero, the speed of the particle is root GL cos beta. So that is something we can calculate easily. And we just got cos beta as 2 by 3. Okay. So it is 10 root 2 by 3 or approximately 8.1 meters per second. So when the particle goes into projectile motion with the string becoming slack, at that moment the speed, this was not asked in the original question, but I'm just telling you in case you are asked a question like this how to answer. So at the moment when the tension becomes zero in the string, the particle speed will be this much. It will be 8.1 meters per second. So from A to B, you can see the particle speed has reduced from 20 meters per second to 8.1 meters per second. Because there is always a component of mg that is creating tangential deceleration. Whether the angle is less than 90 or beyond 90, always there is a tangential deceleration, which is like this. See, here also, the component of mg in this direction is creating a tangential deceleration. Okay. Somewhere here also, the component of mg is creating a tangential deceleration. So always the speed is reducing. V is in the direction opposite to this. Okay, let's come to the next part where I've given you the value of V to be, I think, what was it, 10 meters per second. Yes. Very good, that's correct. All the three answers you sent is correct. The maximum angular displacement will be 60 degrees or cos inverse of half. Okay, so let me just show the calculation for everybody else also. So here the particle is not going to reach 90 degrees because we know that the speed is less than root 2 GL. So when we are given the initial speed of 10 meters per second, we can see that V naught is less than root 2 GL. So it's going to reach some maximum theta like this and come to rest momentarily. So the speed here was V naught. See the height difference H, very standard type of calculation. So this is L cos theta. So again A to B, and here the tension is T. Here let's say the tension is T naught. Okay. So first of all, A to B, change in kinetic energy plus change in potential energy is 0. So minus half mv naught square plus mgh is equal to 0. So v naught square should be equal to 2gh. So 10 square should be equal to 2 into 10 into, now h remember is L minus L cos theta maximum. Okay. So they should be equal to L 1 minus cos theta, and L is equal to 10 meters. So okay. So from this you can see that 1 minus cos theta is half. Therefore, cos theta is half. Therefore, this theta is 60 degrees. So this is only the maximum angular displacement. So theta max only is 60 degrees. Okay. And at theta equal to theta maximum, which is in this case 60 degrees, tension will be equal to mg cos theta. This will be the minimum tension. So that minimum tension will become 0.05 into 10 into half. So 0.25 newtons, is that correct? That will be the minimum tension, whereas here the tension will be maximum. So 1 Newton will be the maximum tension. And 0.25 Newton will be the minimum tension. Okay, very good. Okay, so let's just wind up with the fourth and final case. So fourth case is going to complete the vertical circular motion such that it starts with a speed of v naught equal to 30 meters per second. So that is greater than root 5 GL. So it will reach the highest point with some speed v, such that here the tension will be minimum, whereas here the tension will be maximum. So T naught will be mg plus mv naught square by L. This is the maximum tension. So of course, this is now going to complete the vertical circular motion. So it's going to be 360 degrees. It will complete. Okay. But tension will be minimum at this point. At this point, where theta is 180 degrees. Okay. So A to B, we apply work energy. H is 2L. So half mv square minus v naught square plus mgh is 0. So v square will be v naught square minus 4gl when you substitute this. So v will be square root of 900 minus 400. So v at that highest point will become square root of 500 or 10 root 5 or nearly 2.4 meters per second. Okay. So now at the highest point, you can see that T is equal to mv square by L minus mg. So we'll substitute this here. So 2 newtons will become the tension at the highest point. So this is the minimum tension. Whereas at this point, you can see the tension is, okay, so 0.05 into 10 plus 30 square by 10. So that is 5 newtons. So T naught equal to 5 newtons. This is the maximum tension. So you have got most things correct, but just check out the values of tension, how you got by properly using work energy theorem and all that. Minimum tension at the highest point you should be getting as 2 newtons. Just make sure you calculated the value of speed and mv square by L term correctly. Okay, so now you understood now? Okay, very good. All right, people. So with that, we will conclude today's session. And with this, we are done with vertical circular motion. Next lecture, we'll discuss some questions and whatever doubts you have. Remember, vertical circular motion in H.C. Verma is not in the circular motion chapter. It is there in the work by energy chapter. And the last few questions of work by energy chapter, I think from question number 51 onwards or something, if you see, will be the vertical circular motion part. So please attempt those questions also along with the circular motion chapter questions. We'll discuss doubts in the next lecture and then we'll start with the next chapter. Next chapter will be system of particles. Okay? System of particles chapter, which is there in your module 3 or in H.C. Verma also after circular motion. After work by energy, rather, that chapter is there. Okay. So that is the next thing we'll be doing in my track of physics. That's it for today, people. Wish you all the best.